accept that recording quick. So in John's case, he has spent some money on his presentation. He helped design it, but he chose to have someone make it look really, really good and all of that. So instead of I never want to say, hey, John, do you want to share that with us? The idea of having John on is he's going to talk to us about, why he has the presentation, how he uses it, how he makes it effective, and kind of what his process is to, when someone says for instance, I'm thinking about listing my house. So that's kind of the idea. So, from that first sort of, hey, I'm thinking about doing something, what's the process? How many times, does he say, hey, prior, etc. So in the case of the presentation itself, I just want to show you guys in Leverage, and you guys probably have seen this most likely, but just in case, I want to show you where the ERA presentation is. So when John is talking about, what he puts in his presentation and then just the process of what he goes through when delivering it and practicing it, etc. The idea is you can take this ERA listing presentation and make it your own. So you have the same type of presentation that John does to present to folks. So if you log into Leverage and go to Marketing, we're going to scroll down to Presentations. And it brings up this page, just so you know, there are listing presentations and buyer presentations, which, again, obviously at this point is becoming more and more popular. So just know buyer presentations exist there. But we're going to kind of be talking listing presentations with John today. So we are always, if you are distinctive property certified, you obviously can use this distinctive property template. Otherwise, we're just going to be using this classic. And I'm going to click View and Download. If you have not seen this page, it's actually a great little page of other flyers and things, postcards, lots of info and marketing materials that you can use. But we are going to scroll down to agent marketing. You know what? I wonder if I. Let me make sure that I didn't get you guys out of the way. Didn't. So here are the this is the page that you can find the presentations. Excuse me. Getting a little hoarse there. For you to grab. So let me just show you guys. For instance, here's the buyer presentation, and I will actually send you guys the link for I can share it through Leverage for, I'm going to make myself a note for both the buyer and the listing. If someone, I guess if someone muted themselves. So what the idea is, you take this presentation, and again, this happens to be the buyer one, and if you can certainly view it all the way down through. The idea is these presentations have all of the ERA value built into them. So there are so many pages down through here that you do not need to even adjust. And if there are pages talking about stats or yourself, then obviously those are pages you want to tweak. You can delete any page. So if you were to just download this, you can bring this presentation into a PowerPoint and make it your own. So so again, when John is talking about his, we know again, just in case you joined a little late, we know he took his presentation, he designed it, but he actually paid someone quite a bit of money, some money to design it and make it his own with his own touch. So sort of asking for that, for him to just give us that. So today, when he does hop on, hopefully I'm just checking as I go through. If someone happens to see him on, just let me know in case I miss it. We have the
He
ability.
just got here, Wayne. He'll be on in just a second.
Okay, perfect. So again, when John gets on, we're going to let him, he's going to take the reins, but again, I want him to talk about the why, which presentations, we've always known presentations are extremely important. But we kind of want to know his why, his process, and then have him show us his presentation to talk about just the value of it. And again, knowing that we will or should use this same thought process in the buyer presentation. So, knowing that's coming up. And, a lot of folks, look, we're going to continue to have buyers. We're going to have to get very good at presenting to buyers and having them sign a buyer agreement. We're going to have to keep doing that. But a lot of experts are talking about agents wanting to become more of a listing agent, so, and that's not really new, but now of course with the buyer stuff, it is sort of coming out. So is a little bit bigger deal. So we'll kind of talk through that as well. So John should be on any minute, and we will we'll switch to him. And nice crowd. I love you guys hopping on real quick. If anyone wants to unmute themselves or even put it in chat, no judgment whatsoever, who at this point actually has a listing presentation that they use every single time, or sometimes we may not need the entire presentation if it's someone who we're super close with. I get it, but who actually has a listing presentation that they're using every time now? Anybody want to?
I do. You guys do too, right?
All right, I am going to, if you guys want to keep adding anything, I'm going to actually I need to send the join link to John. So if you'll just give me 1 second, we'll get him on and then we'll get started. Okay, just sent it to him, so he should be on in just a second.
He just went back to his office to see if he could get it from us, so he should have it.
Okay, I did just send it to his Yahoo if you want to, or yeah, his Yahoo or Gmail, whichever he used. So you can scream back to him. Okay, so yes, so I heard some yeses. Sorry, got a little sidetracked there. So Desiree does, Laura does, yes. So I mean, obviously, if you haven't used a listing presentation to this point, they are extremely important. So using that ERA listing presentation, within you know, I mean, if you just have some of your stats, your headshot, your biography, you know, like within an hour or so, you could take that listing presentation and have it. But again, when John gets on, you know, the listing presentation is one thing, but just listen to John's, you know, again, his process, his why, you know, why he does it, why it's so important. And quite frankly, you know, we're going to quickly learn that all of that leads to John getting a lot of listings and being successful, you know, a lot in getting listings, even, you know, whether it's you know, he's the only one interviewing, you know, they have no hesitation, or if it's, you know, if he's up against agents. So just really pay attention to that once, you know, once we start talking about that. Julia is, I assume he's working on getting in. Oh, yes, John is in, so we'll just give him a second to get settled and ready to go.
I'm here.
Hey, John, thank you so much for joining us. I know you had an appointment. You know, we all knew that you were are a busy guy, so
All good. Let's see.
so I'm gonna. So John, I just told them what I just showed them, because you know what I just showed them is where the ERA listing presentation is, so that they could, you know, simply grab that and take what they learned today from you. I talked about us, you know, talking about, you know, why you do this, what your process is, you know how you use the presentation you have in you know in the talk track to win listings. So so I'm hoping that, you know, we'll take what we learned today and implement it into the ERA listing presentation, and then take it from there. So I'm going to stop sharing, and you'll be able to share, you know, when you're ready, your presentation. But really, if we kind of start with the why, you know, in what you're in, and then go into the process. So why do you have a listing presentation, and why do you think they're valuable?
Yeah. So, you know, this year I've adopted the why that, you know, my goal is to help people. That's why I'm in this business. And when you have that like mindset, um, it's so much easier to deliver your services. It's so much more authentic, and I care a lot less on um, you know, negotiations and commissions and gosh, so many other stresses that come with this. And boy, has it really taken me to another level with my mindset. And so then going towards my listing presentation, it's so much easier to give it. And I'm constantly updating it. I've got an Apple Notes list right now of like 3 or 4 slides that I need to update. So I keep that throughout the year. So I'm trying to pull up. I got a new computer. I had to re-download Zoom. So we'll keep chatting here while I pull it up.
Yeah. So I mean, so I love the, you know, the why. So I'm a stat guy. I just, you know, just we just need to know what's going on in our world and in what we deal with every day. So the fact is the average person, according to NAR now, the average person knows 11 to 12 real estate agents. So even if, John calls me up. John is, I mean, besides being, if he wasn't my best friend, maybe I'd feel more comfortable if he was my best friend. But the idea is, if you have a past client that calls you up and says, oh, we're thinking of doing something, if we go into that appointment just assuming that that listing is ours, we could likely be in big trouble.
Yeah.
It's highly likely that they are, they've also told someone else, hey, we're, one of their other agent friends or somebody that is best friends with an agent. So it's highly likely that they're going to have other influences. So, so the caring part is huge. And then just taking that to, obviously what you're going to chat about now and kind of talk us through your listing presentation. Also, John, just your process, however you want to do it. If you want to do your process, like I told you today, I'm thinking about selling in the next month. What do you do at that point? And
Yep.
then if you'll walk us through your presentation and just, kind of your general talk track at that point.
Sure. I'm going to email, first off, I have this saved. So I'm going to email this to you. And
Awesome.
quite often I am dropping this off in your mailbox before the listing presentation. This book cost me $6 to print. So I know that. So usually I have 20 printed at a time and I'm due. I think I've only got one left, but it's really nice having this printed there. So they already have it. They've either seen it, and I know they're looking at it because they a lot of times request access to it. I share it via Google Drive. So, which probably brings up another point. I should have a whole folder of extra stuff, maybe even the listing docs in a Google Drive folder for them to review, just to try and save time at that listing presentation. That was at one of our ERA trainings too. I forget the gentleman's name, but it was the sleep number guy. And he's the reason I do it this way. So, but that's a good idea, is have a Google Drive folder with all kinds of helpful seller stuff. So yeah, so they have this via email and quite often via in their mailbox, and then I bring it, then I can go through it. I'm not flipping through my laptop. So I talk about our family. There we are at Rosemary Beach. I'm trying to find common ground and interests and hobbies with the sellers. Really, I should have like golf in here. Everybody loves our, I say this is our COVID puppy, Rosie, and that's usually a soft point. They're always asking where the kids go to school, that sort of thing. Okay. So vacations, everybody knows I love Florida. Hobbies, I'm a golfer. Yeah. Here's my little team. Really, it's just Beth and I. Alicia's licensed, but everybody sees our billboard. I really should have the billboard right here next, So, but I talk about how Beth's been with me for 7 years, licensed, helps, run the business. Extremely important. They're going to hear from me 80% of the time, Beth 20% of the time. Okay. Beth, usually I copy her to that initial email. She usually replies to that email saying, hey guys, welcome to the DeCurtins selling team, selling process. She also sends them a copy of our history of updates and a welcome to our home letter. Just talking, hey, you've got homework. Okay. So we're hitting them twice before I even get there via email. Our trusted partners. So I've got 3 loan officers that I recommend. Trista Witt with ERA here is my marketing admin. So I do talk about that. 2 home inspectors, 2 attorneys, Patrick Vaith, our closing attorney, Kit Houston, our trouble attorney is what I usually say. If you get into a sticky situation, and then obviously our broker, Jeremy. Staging partners, I've got 3. Yesterday I just referred Kelly Addy, who's one of our agents. Kelly can come in and tell you if you know what color of granite. Michelle Boggs, she used to be with us. She's one of Amory's good friends. She's good with color schemes, so I do refer her a couple times a year. And then Christine Mazer is who I refer most. And because Christine can come in and, okay, so you already have the art, the accessories and that kind of stuff, but you got too much. So Christine can come in and tell you, okay, we need to minimize these shelves. We need to remove all that, give this away. That's $150, $125. So a lot of times I'll include Christine with my services if I'm going up against somebody. Okay. If I'm not, then they'll pay for Christine. All right. Here's where I like to talk about ERA a little bit. You know, I quite often I get, you know, well, we haven't seen your guys' signs or we haven't heard of ERA. Right away, I say, well, we've got, you know, 40,000 realtors in 32 countries. It's one of the reasons I joined ERA is we've got an international footprint, but more importantly, you know, anytime you go on vacation or our agents go on vacation, I was, you know, in Northern Michigan last weekend and I saw an ERA sign. I should have taken a picture. I've seen an ERA sign in Gatlinburg. We see them all over Florida. Okay. So we're everywhere. And that usually shuts that up immediately. I love that. Okay. And you can go into it a little deeper. If it's a relocation client, you know, I can say, well, you know, why am I here? Well, our parent company, Anywhere, they own Curtis. So that, you know, we're a principal broker. And here's exactly what they usually go. Ah, that's why. Okay. This is here just for them to read customer testimonials. You know, a lot of times they've already seen it. I do tell them, you know, Google us, check us out. You know, I'm up to 37, I think, Google reviews. We just got one this week. Just so everybody knows, Beth does send an email after our closings to our buyers or sellers. And usually we are offering the $25 Amazon gift card. And she will send the thank you for me. She's got a stack right here, the stack of thank you gift cards. And we mix them up between realtor.com and Google. And Wayne, you guys obviously, Jeremy sends them out too, in case we miss them. All right. But I really do have a very strong Google My Business presence. So if you don't have that, you need to check that out. I do like this one. So this is an ERA timeline. Okay, so I grabbed this one from, and I need to go back, Wayne, because ERA definitely updates their listing presentation once a year at least. So, but this is, I like to circle where we're at. Okay, so you found an agent, we're pricing it right now, and we're talking about preparing the home for sale. Quite often I'll write dates in. Okay. Agent responsibilities. This is a pretty important page that I like to say, hey, make sure you read this. You know, I've got to be loyal to you. You're going to sign a consumer guide, which is a state form. You know, we like to take the approach. We are proactive, not reactive. Okay. You've got more than one person on this transaction. And, you know, we're going to be finding the problems and solving them before they hit. So that's an advantage to going with us, is this should be, you know, a lot less stressful of a transaction. Okay. This should close on time because we're going to seek out parts of the transaction and make sure that we stay in compliance with the contract. All right. Determining your market position. I usually like to say at this point, you know, okay, we're about ready to go through the home. You know, things that I'm going to be looking for are condition, amenities. What are amenities? You know, a finished basement, a 2-3 car garage, 2-3 beds, a flat backyard, views, acreage, covered patio, screened in porch. Those are extras. That's what adds value. Like sometimes I have to talk about above grade square footage is really what an appraiser is going to look at. Age of the home. Okay. That's an important slide. These I don't use as often unless I really have to hit somebody on the price. Factors that influence the saleability or affect the saleability of the home. Okay. Sometimes somebody's on a corner lot or has power lines. All right. Or somebody has some repairs. I like to write them down. Okay. See, they have this in front of them. So this is kind of their homework booklet. So sometimes I'll write them down. Okay. To help them with this. Marketing plan, very important, especially as we're starting to head into an inventory level. We're at 2,700 in Cincinnati. The last couple of years we've been under 2,000, so we're starting to bump up a little bit. But we're heading into fall, so we've got to talk about our marketing plan. Tomorrow I have a listing appointment. I've already been with the seller once. Trista's negotiating them for me because I was in a golf event last weekend. But just this morning, he texted me, and let me read this to everybody. Okay. So he thinks the home's worth 2.7 million. Here's his text that he sent me an hour ago. If they don't offer, he had somebody come through, we'd most likely list with you in the very near future. My only concern is I'd want to make sure you can handle the marketing high end. Okay, so let me know your plan. So I've got to go in tomorrow with just 3 or 4 things that I plan to do. And I'm going to tell you what I plan to do. I'm going to EDDM the neighborhood. He lives 8 houses from Joe Burrow. Okay. So me spending $1,000 on marketing to the whole neighborhood and Orlando Brown, who's the offensive lineman that came from the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to hit up this whole neighborhood. I'm going to spend $1,000. I'm going to take the flyers with me to show him the flyer that I'm going to do. Okay. So I'm going to do that. I had a really sexy listing about a month ago where I spent $250 on Google Facebook ads. And I'm going to do that. So I'm going to show him that. We had about 14,000 views. Okay. And then also I'm going to do the reverse prospecting in the MLS, and I'll probably do the whole city. Okay. So I've got those 3 for him, and he doesn't want me to do open houses, which is a bummer because I'd like to, because that's how, so I'm going to, maybe a realtor tour. I got to talk to him to see how comfortable he is with it, but I'd love to be able to do an open house. He just doesn't want I may need, one of our other agents to be there with me. So, but here you go. I've got a marketing action plan. Each week there's going to be 2 or 3 things that I'm focusing on. Okay. I love this slide because it shows this house I sold in Westchester 20 years ago, because they mowed the yard the day before the listing and they watered the yard. This time of year, you got to water the yard. The top picture, white kitchens are obviously in. I like showing a little bit of green. White kitchens again, gray backsplash, a little bit of green again. I'm always saying at the listing appointment, go to Target, spend $150 on fake plants. We need them in the kitchen, in the bathrooms. Okay. This is a house I sold in Anderson, over $1 million. Well, this is 2 different houses. I talk about focal point. Can you guys see my cursor when I do this, Wayne? Yeah. Okay. So this couch, when I first came here, this leather couch was actually going this way. All right. And the chair was over there. Well, this is kind of goofy because it's got 2 focal points, but this fireplace is usually the main focal point. So this really helps kind of show my expertise, right? You guys can go steal these pictures off my previous listings too, if you want. But lights have got to be on. Every single light's got to be on. Quite often when I go through the house, we're missing bulbs. Okay. Or bulbs are out. So I've got to have that talk then, right now. I'm very proud of this. I've worked on this. Sam Croner helped me with this. Trista's helped me with this. So this is, I'm writing this down. This is my social media blitz. Some of you do this. So obviously we've got all these neighborhood Facebook groups. When you post your listing on one of them, all you got to do is check the boxes for all the others. So I'm very proud of this screen when I show this. And I usually say, I don't know any other realtor that does this, maybe 1 or 2 of the others. Okay. And this is the reason I'm the #1 agent in my school district. And I will have that printed off for tomorrow. The last 2 years, I can show him tomorrow that I've sold more homes in more value than any other agent in the neighborhood. Okay. But I'm proud of this because we can reach thousands of people across the city. My social media blitz. Here's an open house post. So I need to replace this one. This one's really old, but it shows 10,000 people, okay, that viewed this listing on just a 2 or 3 day ad. Over 3,000 clicks on the ad. And then we use listings to leads. So I'm going to tell John tomorrow, don't let Anna post from Sipsy Klein or Zillow or realtor.com. I want her to post on her page my link. Okay. Because then I've got access to all these people that have clicked on it. And then I can invite them to the open house. I can remind them that we're now live. And if they want to schedule a showing, we'll probably do a 3-4 day coming soon. I think now the best day to list the house in Cincinnati for sure is either Thursday or Friday. I'm starting to think it's Thursday. I listed one last weekend on Saturday, and it was just feel like it was too late. We did a Monday, Saturday to Saturday coming soon. I feel like that's too long. I feel like it needs to be a 2 or 3 day coming soon. And I'm thinking going live Thursday now. Okay. And what I tell the sellers is Friday is the most flexibility on people's schedule, work schedule. Saturday, it's almost too late to go live Saturday. So I think on this guy, I'm going to want him to go live on a Thursday. I'm going to show my videos. I got to show him that tomorrow. Do many people look at these? I don't have a ton of views, but every seller is always impressed with it. And I have sold houses even this year, but I have sold houses on my virtual tours. I had a Reds trainer come from Arizona. He never saw the house, even before buying it, didn't come to the inspection, nothing. So, I think it's an extra that the other agents don't have. Here we go. This is very important. Eliminating questions. Okay. Information prep. Beth, my assistant, is going to help you gather information about the house. Okay. You're asking a lot. You've made a lot. You paid $300,000 less a couple of years ago. It's like we're going to court. We've got to provide evidence. Okay. Proof. All right. What to expect when your home goes live. Okay. I've had sellers ask this before. So I tell them this is a very important sheet. I usually star it. Okay. Come back to this. Okay. How showing requests are going to come in. Download the app. Okay. Because you're going to forget if you get a bunch of texts. All right. You need to be a neat freak. The house needs to be cleaned professionally, probably. Okay. Quite often. My last couple of listings, I've paid for my house cleaner to come in. She only charged me $140, $150. Sometimes I charge the seller. Okay. Just a prep list. Okay. Sweep, vacuum floors, turn on all lights, play light music. It's funny. Sometimes I'll show up be the first agent to show the house, and they've done all these. Lights are on and there's music playing on the TV. So there's people that read these for sure. Showing time, the guide, how to use the app. Okay. What to expect when your home goes under contract. This right here, I do talk about this. Quite often I'll show them, I'll go over to my, okay, so here's something I need to add. I like to show them, Beth creates a spreadsheet where it breaks down all the offers. So if we're in multiple offers, I'll usually have it, I can pop right over onto my laptop and show them, okay, we're going to be very organized when these offers come in. Okay. And here's the timeline that you need to follow, but we're going to break down each offer. And then I hop right over to my transaction tab, and Beth's got, I wonder if I can show that to you. Beth has for me, let me see if I can slide this. I can't. But Beth has the transaction broken down, and I show them this quite a bit. Anyways, the appraiser, I email every appraiser our list of updates and a couple of comps, and I do talk about that quite often in the listing. Move out checklist. We had a seller ask for this one time, so here you go. Here it is. Schedule utilities. Beth is usually emailing them the week before. Okay, here's the utilities. Here's who you need to call. Now, this to me is super important. When my first coach told me don't go over this, but I disagree. I usually go over this net sheet with them. Okay. And I usually do this at the listing presentation. I just don't want surprises. All right. And this is a little dated. I've updated this a little bit. You know, the train, let's see. So the conveyance fee right here, Hamilton County, that's $3 per thousand. Claremont County, it's $4 per thousand. So $300,000 house times 4 in Claremont County, $1,200. You should have this. Yeah, I have them all right here. I have Warren, Butler, Hamilton, and Claremont. And I'm really good figuring out the taxes. Okay. You can look like a fool if all of a sudden there's a $8,000 tax bill. So I just did this yesterday. Right now we're in August right here. Your bank, okay, if you escrowed it, they paid this bill. So the bill that came out in June and July this year, it was for the second half of 2023. We're right here. So if you close in September, you're going to have 9 months, right? 9 months of property taxes come out. Well, John, we escrow. Your escrow was emptied. These 6 months were emptied to pay those 6. So you'd have 3 months. Okay. When are you going to get that? 2 to 3 weeks after closing, along with any extra insurance or any overage. So that's the property tax. It's usually 6 to 12 months right here at closing. I had the talk yesterday, listing presentation. These guys didn't even hear of the settlement with NAR, but I do feel like we're obligated to inform them because, again, you're minimizing a surprise. What if his brother tells him in a week, you don't have to pay the buyer's agent. So yesterday I had at my listing presentation, I printed off the previous MLS sheet and it had co-op commission 3%. I showed him this is going away. Okay. He said, oh, I don't have to pay it. Well, if you don't pay anything, are the buyer's agents going to be incentivized to show the house? Rarely. I've sold 700 homes. I've done dual agency 10 times, maybe. So 99% of the time, there's 8,000 realtors in Cincinnati. Another buyer is going to have their own realtor. Okay. So just bump up the price a little bit. And he goes, okay, yeah, that's fine. It was done. It was easy. Seller homework. Okay. So when I leave, you guys need to pay attention to the back end of this. This pulls them back to my listing presentation. Go through your systems, okay. Go check each one of them out, write down the age of each one. We want this to go into what's going to sit, okay, at the house. I usually give them one of my flyers. Have extras of these. Your history of updates, even if they're previous owner updates, mechanical updates, routine maintenance. If you do all of these extras, okay, they're going to think that you do so much more, and you actually do, right? Put your best foot forward. This is my favorite. Write a letter to the buyers. I don't know if Jeremy approves of this or not. I think maybe the risk is coming from the buyers. That's where we get in trouble. But, what do you love? What have you loved about the house, the neighborhood, the location, the views, fall, winter? Okay. This is pretty important. Most of my sellers do this. Wow. I guess that's it. Does anybody have any questions on any slides?
Well, so I wrote some notes down. There is so first of all, I hear a lot from the agents. So for instance, when you pull up the ERA listing presentation, it's 53 pages, I think. And I hear a lot like, oh my gosh, that's way too much, whatever, and I say, well, it might be, but what if you handed that or dropped it off and they looked through it and saw all that value. And then when you got there, you only had to go through 10 pages of it.
That's right.
I mean, like there is so much value that you just talked about. Like, I mean, in maybe not every agent's going to be able to have every one of those pages, or maybe they don't have the Google review. So, there are things that an agent might not, but I just see so much value in overwhelming it. And then ideally you get in front of them and they're like, yeah, just, highlight it. So you don't have to go through every page, but if they have it prior, let them get over what, let them go like, man, this agent, like this is a lot, and so I love that idea. So, and then just kind of talking about everything that you do, maybe some folks aren't, maybe aren't going to have a stager, maybe aren't going to have, a lot of the things. But it starts with like actually having a presentation. Get the ERA presentation, add a page about yourself, add the ERA Real Solutions page, which you just went by, and then start with that. And then, and then add to it as you have. You didn't start with all of this, 700 homes ago, or 600 homes ago. It grows as you grow. And like you said, you should update this. So just some thoughts about, don't underestimate how much they want to see value out of you. So, and start there, and then tweak it as you go.
I am constantly reading the seller too. Like you can tell if she's starting to lose interest, but also I don't always go page by page. Sometimes I got to flip to that social media blitz and the marketing plan. Sometimes I got to flip to that seller net sheet,
Yeah.
Larry Kendall, he talks about time of possession. You got to constantly be reading that seller and see if they're still paying attention, because quite often you're losing it.
Yeah. I mean, worst case, you go through all 50 pages. Best case, they, when you walk in the door, you're prepared to, but they, you get 2 pages in and they go, hey, just tell me like these 3 things. And then like, where can I sign? You're like, that's, but I still think, maybe I talked about this before you hopped on, like, I still think we have to go in every single appointment like we're fighting for it.
Yeah.
And then if it, if at that point, they're quick, or they're like, hey, I like it, whatever. But if we have, if we're not prepared and they're sitting there and we haven't sold them because we talked about how good we are, or that I just sold the neighbor's house, if that's not good enough, we're not prepared to, to sell them, that then we take a chance at losing that. So that's kind of just what I've always thought.
Wayne, can you see this screen? Can you guys see
listing
that?
presentation and then a checklist, maybe?
Yeah. So Larry Kendall, he in his book, he talks about, okay, you got core services. So I need to add this to my listing presentation. Core services, and then differentiated services. Right. So what sets me above and beyond the next agent? Okay, 80 photos, aerial shots. I always talk about aerial shots. That's going to be an $80 add-on. I do a $65 Lux editing so that the pictures are super clear and brighter. Facebook posts, that's my social media blitz. These are kind of, these other ones are what Larry recommends. So contractor list, how about that? Who do you need? That's the good one to go follow up on the next day. Hey, do you still need my carpet guy? Did you get in touch with my painter? Yeah. So I really like this differentiated services, core services. Everybody does core services. Okay, now what about the extra? And remember, Larry says 80% of sellers want the 6% realtor. They want the full service. They want the best. 15% want the for sale by owner route. If that's your guy, then you probably move on, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
eighty
it's
percent want the full service.
yeah, in with with ERA and with Real Solutions, we have access to the listings to leads so that you can sell that. We can help you with the Facebook. I've never done the Facebook ad. We can help you with that. So it's not always here's another $100, here's another 100. It's like spend what you have to or spend what you need to. But it's, not every listing's like, $2,000 out the door just to get the listing, but if you have to, it's there. But showing that differentiated service, that's an advantage of being with ERA, or some of the tools we have even outside of ERA, like listings to leads. So, yeah, I love that. Does anybody have any, questions, comments? I mean, we got John on the phone, obviously. I'm looking down the list. Laura said they do it. I know Desiree has an awesome listing presentation, Julia. So there are other folks. So if anyone has any questions, any thoughts, please don't hesitate to.
I tell you, I'd love to watch somebody else show their listing pres. So Laura, Des, maybe in a couple weeks, if everybody spends some time upgrading theirs, and then somebody else, that'd be pretty cool to see another one from my perspective.
Yeah, I do love the idea of Des. So like John saying that, I'm sure you feel the same. Like, you have a great listing presentation, but you being on this, tells me that, you always want to do something to get a little bit better. So John, a question from Mark: do you present directly from the computer or the brochure that you dropped off? So
lately it's been mostly from the brochure, but for 10 years from the computer. Sometimes it's a combination. I mean, I've got both there for sure. Always have the laptop.
Sure. And Desiree just added that she dives into stats a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even go into, usually I have CMAs there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go into pricing of the home.
No, I love it. This is so good. And I guess one thing that I'll say is for me, this session was one of those sessions that, like you either taking notes or like, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do, maybe I haven't done 3 or 4 of those things, but I'll just say, like, if you haven't done a listing presentation, this is recorded so we can send it out so you can kind of rewatch it or watch parts of it. But grab that ERA listing presentation and just start with it, and and tweak that, kind of make it your own. And if that leads you to just using that for the next 5 years, or if you want to create one like John did that's specialized, whatever. But starting with that, and then just take one thing, start working on Google reviews, start bits and pieces of making it more impressive like John has now. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but if you don't start today with something, 2 weeks from now, you're going to be, we all do it. We all say, like, oh man, I still don't have a listing presentation, or I didn't tweak it, or things like that. So grab 1 or 2 things, and start with it. So I don't know if you're seeing chat, John, but lots and lots of thank yous and very impressive. So, so again, thank you guys so much for joining. John, thank you for your time. I know you're super busy. One last pause for anybody that has any questions or. Awesome. No, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your time.
Hey, Wayne, with this,
Yeah.
are we still doing the forums training at 11?
Yes.
Is that a separate link?
Yes, separate link. And I'm sure, I think Julia might have it. I think,
Yeah, I have it. It's gonna be in here, John, if you want to come in.
Oh, gotcha. I'll come in there.
Okay.
yeah, anybody else that's listening, I'm not sure if anybody's from Florida, but anybody in the Ohio region, that 11 o'clock forums training is a separate Zoom link. So hopefully we'll see you guys on that. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks again, John.